Protest only happens when politicians and policies have failed to protect them. And at this point, we know that throwing more money at police to criminalize people that just need help is not the answer. This is hard. This moment that we're in is really difficult. And to be here now, under such tragic and urgent circumstances, right? Like because of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, who are two Black people who were murdered by police here in America. And with the backdrop of a pandemic that is going to see millions of people facing mass evictions in a mere matter of months, where millions of people are starving in this country, under a president that is threatening martial law. We live in incredibly segregated societies. You know, segregated communities, segregated societies leads to segregated thinking. If we look at police, for example, the first police department was really publicly funded slave catchers, enslaved people that are trying to free themselves in 1704. I mean, that is the history of policing here in America. But I think it speaks to also to a philosophy that shapes the West and that shapes a lot of places. The setup of binaries, you know, good and evil, innocent and guilty, criminal and civilian, black and white. And Western morality, I think, is incredibly dangerous when it has such deep injustice. One of the stances that we've taken has been around defunding the police. And in defunding the police, we can finally redirect those resources to people who need them. I mean, if you're a person who has struggled with a mental health issue, or if you are a person whose family member has suffered from a chronic mental health illness, you know how impossible it is to have dignity for yourself or dignity for that person. There's no resources, there's no help, no meaningful help. And that's because all of those resources are being channeled into police budgets, and those police then criminalize people who need help. I mean, it is not possible to imagine a society that is structurally different if we're not willing to invest in that possibility.
We're not dumb. The real provocateur is you. You are the terrorist. We are not afraid of you.
But everyone is also born into a story. I think if you're a woman, you're born into a kind of story. I think if you're Black, you're born into a kind of story. I think if you grew up poor, you're born into a kind of story. If you are disabled or neurodiverse or part of the LGBTQ community. And for so many of us, we've had to step out of line, of that story that we had, because the story taught us to shrink, or taught us that we were worthless, or taught us that we deserved harm that happened to us, you know? For many of us, we become almost contortionists.
This power that we have, this is all the power that we'll ever need. Do you hear me? Do you understand me?
First time we're tying our fate to each other, we're fighting for each other. But I believe complacency really is a type of erosion. It's, in a way, I think it could be even the death of the soul. The silver lining of this moment, if you know, it could be called that, how willing we are to get past all the teachings and the segregation that has been built up in our minds and in our societies. People are not happy. And I think people know that something is wrong. We are seeing such a widespread embrace of a movement like Black Lives Matter. It took us 7 or 8 years to get here, but we got here. And I think that's incredibly important and meaningful. I used to think that you had to be a certain kind of person to do this work, a special kind of person. But now being in service to other people, fighting for other people, that is how we become remarkable. Every protest feels like we're moving through a cloud of tear gas and pepper spray. I know that that is the most sacred work that can be done to people that are taking to the streets. Those are the foundation layers and the brick layers for a better tomorrow. I truly, at the heart of it, I believe that activism is about how you treat people. Activism is showing up for someone else the way that you need it in your most vulnerable moments. And I think that's what this moment is calling us to do. It's to step into the possibility of being extraordinary. And you become extraordinary and you become remarkable when you fight for justice. I know that we are moving in the direction that we need to be in.
need you to know is every time that you see someone with a t-shirt that says Black Lives Matter, every time you see a sign, every time you see a spray painted on a car or in front of a lawn in someone's house, that is your family. That is your family. We are your family.